A millionaire saw bruises on his maid while she bathed her son. When he learned the truth, he was shaken. Tyler Whitman wasn't used to noticing people. At 45, he'd built his billion-dollar tech company on logic, not empathy. His mansion in upstate New York ran like a machine, staff rotated silently in the background, lives invisible behind polished service. That was until one quiet Thursday evening, when he came home early and noticed Maria, his maid, kneeling by the tub with her 3-year-old son, Leo. He wasn't supposed to see them. She usually brought her son in after hours when the house was empty. But something in Leo's soft laughter pulled Tyler to the hallway, and something in Maria's posture stopped him cold. She winced as she leaned forward, one hand supporting her side. The sleeve of her shirt slipped slightly, revealing dark bruises along her arm and shoulder. Tyler froze, eyes locked on the purplish-black marks that looked day-sold. He almost turned away. He wasn't the kind of man to get involved. But then Maria shifted, catching sight of him standing by the door. Her eyes widened, not with fear, but something deeper. Embarrassment. And a quiet, desperate plea for him not to ask. That night, Tyler couldn't sleep. For once, quarterly earnings and board meetings faded from his mind. Instead, he kept seeing Leo's chubby fingers wrapped around a rubber duck, the boy's tiny voice calling, "Mama," while she smiled through visible pain. The next morning, Tyler did something he never did, he asked Maria to sit down. "I saw the bruises," he said gently. She stiffened, panic rising in her throat. "Mr. Whitman, I fell." "It's nothing. Maria, please. I just want to understand." There was a long pause. Then the dam broke. Her husband, a construction worker, had once been a kind man. But after an injury that left him out of work and battling depression, he changed. Anger turned into violence. She'd stayed for her son's sake, hoping things would get better. But last week, when he shoved her into the kitchen counter while Leo watched and cried, she knew she couldn't wait for better anymore. "I come here," she whispered, "because it's the only peace I get. Leo is safe here. I can breathe." Tyler felt a lump rising in his throat. He'd seen bruises before, on stock charts, in quarterly losses. Never on a person. Never like this. "You can't go back," he said firmly. "Not with your son. But I have nowhere else to go. No family. No papers. If I leave him, I lose everything." He said he'd take Leo. The fear in her eyes shattered him. In all his years of building tech empires and closing billion-dollar deals, Tyler had never felt so powerless, or so furious. He excused himself, walked into his office, and called his lawyer. That day, everything changed. He arranged temporary housing for Maria and her son, quietly covering the cost. He connected her with a nonprofit that supported immigrant women escaping domestic abuse. He paid for her legal aid, childcare, and even found a therapist who specialized in trauma recovery. But it didn't stop there. For the first time, Tyler began asking questions. He learned that many women like Maria were trapped, silently serving families who never noticed their pain. So he funded a program under his foundation to support domestic workers in crisis, offering shelter, legal aid, and emotional support. He didn't want to just help Maria. He wanted to help them all. Weeks passed. Maria began to heal, slowly, painfully. Her eyes grew brighter. Leo laughed louder. And Tyler? He changed. One afternoon, months later, Tyler stood by the kitchen entrance and watched Maria prepare lunch with her new apartment key hanging from her lanyard and a small smile on her face. Leo, now enrolled in preschool, had drawn a picture of Mr. T with a superhero cape and gave it to him with sticky fingers and a toothy grin. "You saved us," Maria whispered to him once when no one was around. "But more than that, you saw us." That night, Tyler sat on his balcony, staring at the stars. For the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. In a world obsessed with wealth, he'd found meaning in kindness, in using what he had to lift someone else up. He'd always thought power came from what you owned. But Maria and Leo had taught him a deeper truth. Real power is the ability to change someone's life when no one else can. And sometimes, all it takes, is noticing. Moral message. No act of kindness is ever wasted. When we stop to truly see one another, we find the power to heal, to help, and to transform lives, including our own.